Good evening and a warm welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. President Muhammadu Buhari has called on the National Assembly to fast-track the passage of the Special Crimes Court Bill. President Buhari, who made the advocacy at the National Summit on Diminishing Corruption in Public Sector and Integrity Award in Abuja, urged the judiciary to embrace and support the creation of special crime courts. The president, who also pointed out that in the last 10 years, over 1 trillion naira has been expended on constituency projects without co-equal infrastructural facilities to show for this huge government spending, directed the continuous tracking of constituency projects. The Chief Justice of Nigeria The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, affirmed that tremendous successes have been achieved by the anti-corruption agencies. Justice Mohammed also challenged the anti-graft agencies to build on the successes recorded to put the country out of the corruption index. 2 public servants were honored for passing the integrity test in their various duty posts. President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the Senate requesting the consideration and passage of 6 aviation sector reform bills. The bills, when passed, are expected to improve Nigeria's aviation sector, as the President of the Senate, Senator Ahmed Lawal, immediately directed that the bills be gazetted and copies distributed to senators in preparation for consideration. Meanwhile, the Senate has called on all Nigerians to rise up against open defecation as it joined other nations in commemorating 2019 World Toilet Day. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawal, harped on the need for authorities to provide adequate toilet facilities, especially in public places. Senate had passed the second reading of the 3rd bill that seeks to amend the Public Procurement Act of 2007, which seeks to provide a specific time frame for procurement process proceedings. The Senate has advised the Federal Ministry of Health to set up an efficient and proper mechanism for identifying and preventing what it described as proliferation of fake medical reports from public hospitals in Nigeria. And Senate President Ahmed Lawal says the 9th National Assembly will partner with Ondo State government to raise the living standard of the people. He said this when he paid a courtesy visit on the state governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu in Akure. Olajide Bello reports.
Established 44 years ago, the University of Maiduguri, known as the Center of Excellence in the Sahara, was and still is an institution that has national spread in terms of admission. This event, which is a union party, is a testimony to that fact, as it afforded an avenue for its alumni members who had not seen one another for decades to throw banters. It also provided an opportunity to give back to their alma mater. And incidentally, the president of the Senate, Ahmed Lawal, is a 1984 graduate of geography from the university. He said he is glad that, in spite of threats by Boko Haram insurgents, students still believe in the quality of education the university offers and salutes their courage. On the recent increase in tuition fees by the university, which the National Assembly frowns at, the president of the Senate says,
"Widen your consultation when you have to take a fundamental decision like this. Your stakeholders are not limited to the University Council or the Senate alone. You have other stakeholders who can speak for you."
The inevitable decision of the Governing Council to increase fees in the 2019-2020 academic session was not deliberately intended to impose any adverse pain on our students.
Acting President of the University of Maiduguri Alumni Association, Amisu Maidugu, encouraged the newly elected FCT executives to uphold the quality the institution has inculcated in them.
There is commitment in their face, and we will give them 100% support from the national body.
Alleviating the situation of high number of unemployed alumni in the spirit of all for one, one for all.
The event saw the unveiling of the blueprint for the 2019 EXCO strategies. Awards were also given to some alumni of the school for their immense contribution to the growth and development of the institution, as well as victims of insurgency.
The people of Borno State have suffered. I would like to dedicate it to all these victims and the good people of Borno State.
Anybody who wishes to do anything that will be of substance, that will be good, requires sacrifice, requires commitment.
Memories of both guests and graduates who were made in UNIMAID said the day will linger in their hearts for a long time to come. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
We are sorry about that mix-up. That was a story from Olayinka Ojo on the University of Maiduguri alumni reunion. Now, moving on, the House of Representatives has passed a resolution to investigate non-combatant helicopter and aircraft crashes involving the Nigeria Air Force. The issue raised by Representative Adebori Kuye on the matters of urgent public importance detailed the losses suffered as a result of the crashes, after which the House resolved to find out the immediate and remote causes. Also to be investigated by the House are financial activities of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, for the past 3 years, following allegations of unapproved spending as moved by Representative Benjamin Kalu. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, at plenary, brought to the notice of members 2 presidential communications seeking approval for passage of 6 aviation sector bills and issuance of 10.06 billion naira promissory notes to Kogi State government. Toilets for all, leaving no one behind is the central message in this year's World Toilet Day. Are some people still left behind in Nigeria? Mia Ogidi tells us more.
Records from the Federal Ministry of Environment. 47 million Nigerians live without improved toilet and practice open defecation. This motor park at the Federal Secretariat, Abuja, accommodates more than 1,000 vehicles, and ticket to it is 100 naira per entrance. In such a large public facility, only one private convenience is provided. I approached Baba, who is managing the facility, to get some information, but he kept tight lips and was even staying away from the camera lenses while collecting fee from his customers. My few minutes stay in this area confirms that it is indeed a lucrative business.
A piece na 50 naira.
Okay. Toilet?
100 naira.
But few kilometers away from the city center reveals that the poor sanitary condition due to open defecation calls for emergency solution because of the diseases associated with this practice.
Anywhere that people are gathered to play, to worship, to trade, to work, to live, there must be sanitary facilities. So it is important that everybody take it as a challenge.
For the Federal Ministry of Environment, all concerned agencies and individuals will no longer sit on the fence to meet the 2030 target of stopping open defecation. And the Minister of State for Environment, Sharon Ekiazo, was emphatic at this gathering in commemorating the World Toilet Day.
Not only to do the talking, but take practical steps and actions individually, collectively, as agents of change to ensure everyone has access to eco-friendly sanitation facilities.
A quick check at the conveniences in the hotel where the event is holding. Many of the participants were answering the call of nature. This depicts the usefulness of this facility anywhere one finds him or herself. Mayor Ogede, NTA News.
We now link our Lagos studio, and Jennifer will be our guide. Over to you, Jennifer.
And welcome to Lagos. Now we're starting with health issue. Now the global community is faced with a challenge of improving sanitation, and sizable targets of the Sustainable Development Goals must be achieved And for the challenge to be tackled, sadly, the indices is not encouraging, as a United Nations statistics indicates that 4.2 billion people globally live without safely managed sanitation. As the world marks 2019 Toilet Day, Lynn Leneke in this report examines the importance of adequate provision of sanitation facilities to health.
World Toilet Day is an annual global event to raise awareness on the crucial role that sanitation plays in reducing disease and creating healthier communities. This is in line with Sustainable Development Goal 6, which promotes sanitation for all by 2030. It is, however, important considering the number of people exposed to infections and disease and deaths recorded due to poor sanitation habits.
The department responsible for public health really has to rise up with their personnel and do what is needful.
The level of hygiene and sanitation in Lagos is very low, or let me say very poor. Maybe because of people's culture or their way of thinking.
Rapid population growth in Nigeria, particularly in urban areas, is putting a strain on sanitation facilities. Poor sanitation habits and inadequate toilets are also factors that encourage open defecation.
I want the government to do more and more to other places. We need government to help us in order to provide mobile toilets in the environment.
The global theme for this year's Toilet Day observance is Leaving No One Behind, aimed at drawing attention of government and the citizens to the importance of implementing policies that will enhance standard sanitation practices and reduce the menace of open defecation and indiscriminate disposal of waste. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
Now to road safety. Lagos State Government has urged officers and men of the Federal Road Safety Corps to bring road crashes to the barest minimum through the use of technology and innovations. This was the message of the government to a sectorial workshop for special marshals in Lagos. Jesuto Moses reports.
Speaking at the workshop, which had as a theme Special Marshal yesterday, today and tomorrow, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by the Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Frederick Oladende, urged the officers and men of the Federal Road Safety Corps to ensure regular sensitization of road users to prevent road crashes.
Gone are the days where you stop offenders on the road. Stopping offenders on the road can in itself cause congestion. And so what you want is to deploy technology where you capture the numbers of offenders and then you can then send the violation ticket to their home.
Other stakeholders urged Nigerians to support men and officers of the Corps in ensuring proper road safety culture in Nigeria.
At a point in your development, you need to sit down and look at where you are coming from, where you are, and where you are going to. And where lies our strengths? Where lies our weaknesses? What are the opportunities available? And how can we move forward from here?
So that's why we are looking at how do we get the psychology of the people behind the steering to become respectful and obedient to the road instructions.
Road safety must be a subject that will be in the school curriculum so that they will understand about the need for road safety even before they become drivers or passengers.
In Lagos, Jesuto Moses, NTA News.
Now, communication is key, and its effectiveness ensures clarity of purpose, especially in the area of security, to avoid misinterpretation or raise unnecessary tension among the populace. This is why the Nigerian Army has continued to train its public relations officers and other media stakeholders as part of efforts to addressing national security concerns. Dotun Oguyemi reports.
A similar training like this last year examined the theme, fake news. This year, the Nigerian Army School of Public Relations and Information is addressing interagency cooperation in Nigeria, the role of public relations officers. The agenda is to address interagency clashes and rivalries, which often rears its ugly head in order to guide against its threat to national security.
It's not only apt but timely in view of the fact that the nation is currently prosecuting a war against insurgency and terrorism, militancy, kidnapping, herders and farmer clashes, and other forms of criminality, which requires a high degree of coordinated efforts and synergy among security agencies.
For media practitioners, accurate reportage is key to national interest, peace, and security.
We must collectively and patriotically see ourselves as vanguard for the enthronement of ideals that would elicit public interest in nation building.
The school, since its inception in April 2010, has trained 3,200 students, which include 450 personnel from the Navy, 107 from the Air Force, and 2,643 from the Nigerian Army. In Lagos, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
That's a contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues with Ifoma in Abuja. Ifoma, over to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. The Nigerian Army has stressed the need for intensification of non-kinetic activities in the northeast Nigeria to rapidly end the decade-long insurgency in the region. This was highlighted by the representative of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, while receiving a delegation from the Institute of Security Studies Regional for West Africa, Sahel and Lake Chad Basin on a working visit to the Army headquarters, Abuja. The Army Chief notes that identifying the logistics supply routes and channels of funding terrorism in the Lake Chad Basin is critical to the ongoing counter-insurgency operations and promised to collaborate with the Institute to conduct researches on terrorism.
Also unraveling some knotty issues as regards fighting insecurity, either insurgency or terrorism, as it were. We are only confronting the symptom, but there are so many other things that lead to the symptoms.
Troops of 153 Task Force Battalion on clearance patrol have repelled an ambush along New Mate Dikwa local government area of Borno State and recovered arms from Boko Haram terrorist group. A statement by the Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator, Colonel Aminu Ilyasu, indicates that the rapid response of the troops forced the terrorists to flee in disarray with gunshot injuries. Arms recovered during the encounter include 2 gun trucks, 2 anti-aircraft guns, rounds of NATO ammunition, and 12.7 mm armor-piercing ammunition, among others. 6 police personnel attached to Madobi Divisional Office in Kano State are now undergoing interrogation following the alleged murder of a 25-year-old Abdul Kadri Nasiru. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that the deceased before his death was a student of the Federal College of Education Technical, Bichi.
A night ago, the deceased 25-year-old Abdul Kadri Nasiru reportedly evaded police arrest after a minor scuffle with one of his friends, which was reported at the Madobi police station. Sensing the implication, his law-abiding father, Nasru Muhammad, voluntarily handed him over to the police when he returned home a few days later. According to the father of the deceased, the prolonged tussle and maltreatment of his son at the police station forced him to leave.
Shi yaro na sai ce shi ba an caje shi ba. Shi dan buci da wega ya gaure yaran nan da mari. Ya gaure shi da mari shi ma ya irama.
One Inspector Bichi asked my son and other suspects to be searched. While my son resisted, the inspector slapped him and he retaliated.
Narrating his ordeal, brother to the deceased, who was also at the police station, pleaded to take unconscious Abdulkadir to the hospital. His request, however, was not granted until one of the policemen at the scene forcefully extorted the sum of 8,000 naira from him.
I'm supposed to give something. He won't take it to DPO. I tell him only 10,000 I get. I want to take this boy to hospital. Since I see what happened to him before. So you telling me DPO he is in need of 20,000. Where I tell him this 10,000 I have, I will give him 8,000 so that I will use the 2,000 for foiling of car to Kano hospitals.
Already, Kano State Police Command has arrested the policemen who are allegedly involved in the incident leading to Abdulkadir's death.
Currently, all the officers are facing orderly room trial on 2 count charges of 1 discreditable conduct and 2 disobedient to lawful orders, in which, after completing investigation, if these officers are found guilty that led to the death of this youth, they will be dismissed from the post and, of course, charged to court for prosecution.
The deceased family is appealing to government and other relevant authorities to intervene and let justice prevail. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
This is NTA Nationwide. We now take some messages. The news continues shortly. To stay.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Hajj Mohammed, cordially invites the general public to the 2019 Abuja Carnival, taking place between 23rd and 25th November 2019. Theme: Culture for Peace. Street Carnival and opening ceremony. Saturday, 23rd November 2019. Venue from Old Parade Ground to Area 1, Abuja. Time from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Other cultural activities on display are Children's Fiesta at GSS Area 10, Garki, Abuja. Durbar at Kuje Stadium. Boat Regatta at Jabi Dam. Masquerade Fiesta at Government Day Secondary School, Gwagwalada. Traditional Cuisine Fair and Bush Bar at Old Parade Ground. Command Performance and Award Night, as well as Contemporary Music Fiesta at the Old Parade Ground from 23rd to 25th November 2019. Time from 8:30 p.m. till dawn daily. Deaconess Grace Isu Gekpe, Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Information and Culture, announcer.
The Deep Offshore Act signed by President Muhammadu Buhari, gains and prospects, is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live. The program on Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. will be incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
This year, like every other year, for over a decade, we celebrate and reward African creatives around the world at the African Academy Awards ZAFA 2019 in Abuja, Nigeria. The second homecoming event is a 3-day gathering of industry stakeholders and enthusiasts to network as well as encourage and motivate budding talents. The movie screenings, exhibitions, and masterclasses will hold at the Silverbird Galleria on the 22nd to 23rd November 2019. The awards and gala night on the 24th of November 2019 at the prestigious Transcorp Hilton Hotel Abuja. For inquiries and sponsorship, advert placements, and tickets, call the following numbers on your screen now or visit www.zafa.org.
This is wonderful.
I'm super excited about it. Nothing is expected of them other than awesomeness.
ZAFA 2019. Come expecting the unexpected.
The new edition of TV Guide is out, exclusively taking a look at the traditional television and new media. Are they comparable or complementary? Media industry players give perspective on the trends, progress, challenges, and the way forward. Find out on this compelling edition of TV Guide. Expository interviews with stars of the team within our space. Becky Madojemo of NTA, Utibel More of AIT, Nifemi Oguntai of TVC, and a host of others. TV Guide, your indispensable companion. Also feature Iya Medina.
I'm the CEO, managing director of Iya Medina Sister Restaurant. I choose to serve. Shut up your mouth. Let me finish.
A TV drama series on NTA, let's get to meet the characters behind Iyamodina. This edition also presents exciting features on tourism, culture, entertainment, sports, health, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendors near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Thanks for staying tuned. We now join Sokoto, where Sadia is standing by with stories making the rounds in that zone. Over to Sadia.
Welcome to Sokoto. The Zamfara State Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps has tasked Special Marshal of the Corps to champion the cause of the ongoing campaign to ensure free accident and months. This came to the fore at the annual workshop organized for Special Marshal in Gusau. Salam to Umar Abdullahi reports.
The Special Marshal Initiative is a scheme where volunteers are equipped with the required knowledge and empowerment by the law of traffic management, road safety administration, encompassing education, researches, rescue, traffic control, arrest and prosecute offenders, among other responsibilities. Zamfara State Governor Bello Muhammad, represented at the event by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Salis Afi, said the present administration is ever ready to support the activities of both the special and regular marshals in discharging their duties. Zonal Commanding Officer, Zone 10 of the FRSC, comprising Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara States, Kayode Olagunju, identified the unmeasurable services rendered by the marshals in the society as highly commendable.
We believe your participation will further enhance road safety in your different communities.
Zamfara Sector Commandant of the FRSC, Uhioka, appealed for the cooperation from the general public towards achieving the Commission's accident-free society mission. There were questions and answer sessions. Most questions centered on how road crashes on the highways can be reduced to the barest minimum. From Gusau, Salamat Umar Abdullahi, NTA News.
Governor Bello Muhammad of Zamfara State has promised to make the 2020 Hajj exercise the best in the history of the state. The governor made the remarks shortly after receiving the 2019 Hajj report. Salam to Umar Abdullahi again reports.
Governor Bello Muhammad of Zamfara expressed satisfaction over the conduct of 2019 Hajj operation by the Amirul Hajj and other members of the committee, as well as the Zamfara State Hajj Commission for doing a good job. The governor also said the report will be studied accordingly and solutions to all the challenges faced during the 2019 Hajj operations will be corrected for effective performance this time around. According to the governor, local government registration officers who paid $8 instead of $800 to their pilgrims should consider themselves out of the state civil service.
Make sure that we push them out. We will get a better hand that will handle the operation of Hajj in 2020.
While presenting the report to the governor, 2019 chairman of Hajj Committee, who is the Emir of Gumi, Al-Haji Lawal Hassan Gumi, and chairman Zamfara Hajj Commission expressed their appreciation to the governor for giving them the mandate and full support to have a successful Hajj exercise. From Gusau, Salamat Umar Abdullahi, NTA News.
That's all from this end. It's now back to Ifoma in Abuja.
Thank you, Sadia. An all-inclusive participation in governance, where concerned institutions are synergized to sustain Nigeria's democracy, political analysts say is key to building a viable nation that Nigerians will be proud of. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria made this submission while S-raying the just concluded Bayelsa and Kogi elections. Patricia Esamiluba reports.
Elections will come and go, but the question on the citizenry's mind is what next? For this political analyst, Michael Kayode Ajayi, managing electoral victory is a fundamental process of democracy, as victory in democracy is the majority's choice, which implies that it is a victory for all.
When you talk of management of election victory, it depends much on the sophistication, the political sophistication and maturity of the winner. His ability to say, okay, the loser, come, let's discuss. Our objective is to develop the state. But my fear is the level of violence we are going into in Nigerian politics.
Other guests on the program agreed that it is pertinent for every election winner to take cognizance of the dynamics that promotes excellence. They also added that when politicians put Nigeria first and practice what democracy stands for, in no time, elections in the country would witness positive results devoid of the do-or-die syndrome.
One may then begin to suspect that it is the attitude of the Nigerian towards those systems and practices. How do we begin to change our approach to these things? I think that is very important. You can reform your constitution, review, amend your constitutional definitum, but unless you amend your attitude, you restructure your attitude towards doing things, I'm afraid it may be long before we can get it right, if at all.
So we need to strengthen, one, our electoral institutions. Two, we also need to ensure that if you win the election, try to bring about an all-inclusiveness in governance. Let there be participation by all, irrespective of you win or you lose. Maybe have a better idea than me, but because the electorate have voted me, I need to also have their input so that we can collectively put together and then move our territory to a better state.
It's important to say, yes, you have won elections, but you need to audit this your victory. You need to introspect and say, look, is this the way to go on? You can benefit from perfidy today, but what about tomorrow if the table turns against you? Then that pain that you talked about becomes very rife and strong.
The guest submitted that both the politicians and the electorates have a stake in the processes of election management and governance, as the opportunity to build a better Nigeria lies in the hands of all. In Abuja, Patricia Esamiluba, NTA News.
The National Youth Service Corps has reacted to insinuations trending on the social media that the scheme is not doing enough on the issue of unqualified graduates from some foreign institutions, particularly neighboring countries. The Director General, NYSC, Brigadier General Shuaibu Ibrahim, reacted to this while fielding questions from correspondent Olayinka Ojo when he visited the NYSC FCT orientation camp in Kubwa, Abuja.
But based on 1 and 2, we made several arrests, and I'm happy to inform Nigerians that some have been prosecuted and jailed last week. And there were still more. For the 2019 batch C, over 20,000 foreign trained Nigerians uploaded online for mobilization. Through our measure of physical verification, only 3,420 showed up for verification to show that we are doing enough. That's because they couldn't show up, because if they come, just as I warned them earlier, in the interview I had in several forums, that if you know you are not qualified, you have fake documents, please don't show off about C. If you come, we'll arrest you, we'll prosecute you, and we'll jail you.
The NYSC boss also lauded the cooperation of all stakeholders at the recently conducted Bayelsa and Kogi elections at ensuring the safety and security of corps members who worked during the elections. About 1 million children are targeted to benefit from the ongoing measles and meningitis vaccination exercise in Benue State. Flagging off the week-long exercise at Bajimba Guma local government area, Governor Samuel Otom pledged to key into all national programs on health care to improve the health status of the people of Benue. Bem Anya was there.
Meningitis and measles are among the 6 childhood killer diseases that affect children under the age of 5, says the United Nations Children Fund. It is against this backdrop that the Benue State government, in collaboration with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and development partners, organized the flag-off of the 2019 Integrated Meningitis and Measles Vaccination Campaign in Bajimba Guma local government area of Benue State.
I'm particularly grateful to the federal government and our development partners for putting up this campaign at this time. It is very timely And it is happening just before the season when these diseases tend to be rampant.
State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Sunday Ongbabo, and Executive Secretary, Benue State Primary Healthcare Board, Dr. Bem Agida, commended the governor for the release of 30 million naira for the vaccination exercise. There were goodwill messages from representatives of World Health Organization, WHO, UNICEF, Rotary International, and others from Bajimba, headquarters of Goma local government area of Benue State. Bem Hanya, NTA News.
For Nigeria to overcome its present economic challenges, it is imperative that government at all levels pay attention to the manufacturing sector as a major factor in the fight against importation of substandard products. Imo State Governor Emeka Ihedioha made this known at the 4th edition of Emmanuel Iwanyawu Annual Lecture Series held in Imo State. Kingsley Ononiwu has the details.
The theme of this year's lecture series is reawakening and imbibing the culture of manufacturing enterprise, needful drivers for industrial development. Governor Emeka Ihedioha, who lamented the increase in collapse of infrastructures in some parts of the country, enjoined the engineers to live above board in ensuring adherence to engineering principles.
It will take you to change your course. It will also take your efforts.
Chief Emmanuel Iwanyawu and the guest lecturer, Professor Remi Uche, are of the opinion that Nigeria has all it takes to become a world economic power through the establishment of industry that can drive the economy.
Nigeria can be a world power. It's for us to sit down and don't look at our own situation. It becomes us to reawaken the Nigerian manufacturing sector, to stimulate, to energize this big sector.
Awards of excellence and cash gifts were presented to the 2019 first-class engineering graduates from across the six geopolitical zones of the country by Chief Emmanuel Iwanyawu in Owerri. Kingsley Ononiwu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has made a strong case for the nation's legislative and judicial arms of government to fully support the creation of Special Crimes Court to specifically handle corruption cases in the greater interest of the country. Declaring open a national summit on diminishing corruption in the public service, the president insists that time has come for Nigeria to reclaim her traditional values of honesty, integrity, and hard work towards achieving sustainable future. State House correspondent Adam Musambu has the details.
Of the event was the public presentation of the report on the constituency projects tracking exercise by the ICPC, which corroborated the widely held belief that such projects are conduit for corruption. President Muhammadu Buhari noted with concern that in the past 10 years, 1 trillion naira has been appropriated for constituency projects, but the impact of such huge spending on the lives of Nigerians can hardly be seen.
The ICPC has my full support and the support of this government to hold fully to account contractors, complicit public servants, and project sponsors who divert funds meant for constituencies or other people-oriented welfare projects of our government, or who by other means reduce the quality and value of such public projects.
He described as delightful that through the effort of the ICPC, some contractors are returning to site to execute projects hitherto abundant, saying, however, that the war against corruption cannot be won without prevention and enforcement.
This administration will continue to support anti-corruption agencies to recover all ill-gotten wealth and prosecute offenders. We will ensure that all fully recovered physical assets are sold and the proceeds remitted to the Treasury.
President Buhari explained that his administration is working hard towards bringing corruption to an end as existential threat to Nigeria, but this, he said, can only be achieved through effective collaboration and cooperation of all arms and tiers of government.
I therefore urge the legislature to fast-track the passage of the Special Crimes Court Bill to handle corruption cases. Passage of this bill is a specific priority of this administration's economic recovery and growth plan.
Messages of goodwill from the legislature and the judiciary indicate genuine support for a corrupt-free Nigeria.
The judiciary, under my watch, will never condone any act of malfeasance among judicial officers. I will do everything possible to stamp out every form of unethical conduct from our fold.
Over the next budget cycles, we will be systematically increasing the funding of law enforcement and other anti-corruption agencies. We will also be benchmarking their performances to ensure that value for taxpayers' monies are met.
The ICPC chairman, Professor Bolaji Owasonoye, had earlier made some shocking revelations from the agency's enforcement and corruption prevention actions in the public service.
ICPC will take enforcement actions, including recovery of diverted funds, name and shame, and prosecution of the most serious cases of infraction, while putting some MDAs on a watch list due to their vulnerability or the propensity to corruption. We recommend, sir, that diversion or non-payment or remittance of tax, of pension, health insurance, or any other statutory deduction should attract dismissal of the head of the agency and immediate prosecution.
During the event, two distinguished Nigerians, ACG Bashir Abubakar of the Nigeria Customs Service and Josephine Ugu of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, were presented the 2019 Public Service Integrity Award. Both were at several times tempted to be corrupt and compromise integrity, but rose above the greed and lure to become examples of integrity.
Your most honored servant reminds you of your promises. Promises? Yes, Your Excellency. Election promises? Yes, Your Excellency. Who remembers them?
From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
We now take you to our Ibadan Network Center, and Kemi will be our guide. Hello, Kemi.
And welcome to Ibadan. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has flagged off the total reconstruction of 65-kilometer Monia-Iseyin Road at an estimated cost of 9.9 billion naira. Correspondent Ayomiku Ajibola has the details.
Describing the 65-kilometer road as an important one that can uplift the economy of the state, Governor Seyi Makinde said his administration is embarking on total reconstruction of the road as opposed to the planned rehabilitation by the immediate past administration. The governor stressed that he had paid 60% of the contract sum upfront, assuring road users that the project will be completed within a year.
You must employ our youth. We want Oyo State money to remain in Oyo State. By this time next year, I am coming to commission the road.
The road, which is close to the ongoing dry port project, when completed according to the governor, will aid the movement of agricultural produce and mineral resources from Okeogun area to the dry port for onward exporting. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Motorists plying Oyo, Ogbomoso, Ilori Express Road have commended efforts of federal government in the ongoing construction project. This, they noted, will reduce road crashes and difficulties being witnessed on the road. Lukman Hassan reports.
Road construction on the Ilori-Ogbomoso Expressway will go a long way in easing problems encountered by road users on the road.
Help the people working here to reduce the accidents occurred on this road.
To motorists flying the road, the gesture of the federal government is a welcome development.
This road has been there since Obasanjo's regime, the old one. And we are happy now that we will enjoy it.
And because this road, I didn't believe that they can do work on this road again.
Well, we thank God.
The federal government has fully captured the road in the budget.
1,800 roads were listed. The money that is available can only repair 500 roads. And the 500 roads, you cannot take it to only one section. You have to spread.
The motorists were of the opinion that articulated vehicles flying the road be cautioned to reduce the number of crashes witnessed on the road. Lukman Hassan, NTA News.
The Sultan of Sokoto, Al-Haji Mohammed Sahad Abubakar III, has asked Muslims in Nigeria to focus more on quality education and peaceful coexistence of all Nigerians. The Sultan gave the advice while addressing Muslims at the 4th General Assembly of Muslim Ummah in the Southwest, held in Ibadan, Oyo State. Rafi Ahmad tells us more.
Muslim Ummah in the Southwest Nigeria were in one accord on issues that will foster unity, cooperation and collaboration of all Nigerians.
20 years of promoting tourism in Africa and diaspora. Over 3 million kilometers traveled. Over 30 African countries visited. Explored the diaspora in 4 continents. Connected over 100,000 happy tourists to Africa. Reached over 50 million homes. Igniting smiles across Africa and beyond. As Gogi Africa turns 20, we thank you and invite you to join us in the quest for 20 must-visit destinations in partnership with the largest TV network in Africa, the NDA, Ministry of Information and Culture, Ministry of Transportation, Lagos State Government, Canon, Delta Airlines, Royal Caribbean, Tour Brokers International. You too can still be a partner. Call the numbers on your screen or info@gogeafrica.tv. Goge Africa, celebrating 2 decades of heritage, travel and tourism. About to witness the commencement of the most stimulating and compelling contest on television. This contest is only for the strong, the intelligent, and the talented. Get ready for the Unity Challenge reality TV show. Coming soon.
Thanks for being there. The Nigerian nation has commenced the implementation process of the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. The Administrative Staff College of Nigeria, ASCON, is engaging rural dwellers through the local government authorities across the nation to ensure a smooth process. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports.
The target of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations is to reach the poor, the uneducated, and fight climate change, among others. This informs the choice of local government authorities in the quest for the implementation process.
This is done involving everybody, all groups, traditional rulers, the political class, the governments, the disabled, and each ward has brought out what are needs of that community.
And we are going to really implement the 17 agenda
that were laid down for us in the SDG program.
Stakeholders are particularly concerned on how to engage rural dwellers in the areas of food security, quality education, poverty alleviation, and security of lives and property using local government officials.
If the implementation of whatever projects are going to be taking place for sustainable development, local government must, of necessity, be part of it.
They have to a kind of leverage to what we are trying to do. It's like a process. You know, they will go through it, and you see at the end of the day, it's a win-win thing.
The National Bureau of Statistics last week supervised the signing of bond among ministries, departments, and agencies for the implementation of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria. In Abuja, Ikechukwu Ndukwe, NTA News.
Enugu is next, and Mina will be our guide. Over to you, Mina.
Many thanks, Ifoma. Good afternoon and welcome to Enugu. Enugu state government has played host to some African Americans who have traced their origin to the Igbo race in the southeast. The Black Americans who confirmed their Igbo origins through DNA test were given a warm welcome by the governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. Susan Eze reports.
Tears of joy flowed as the returning African Americans expressed joy to have found their roots. According to the President General Ohanaeze Ndigbo, the returnees first visited Eri in Aguleri, Anambra State, the original cultural head of Umueri groups of the Igbo people, where the traditional rulers prayed for them and they were given Igbo names.
What you went to do in Eri was to tell our forefathers that their own have come back. It was a very symbolic ceremony. What you've come to do here today is a political act to show our political leaders that you have come home to your ancestral home.
Tracing the origin of these Igbos in diaspora to the days of the transatlantic slave trade, Chairman Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Enugu State Chapter, Chief Alex Obonna, expressed gladness that these descendants of the Igbo ancestors have overcome their identity crisis. Thankful to all those who made their return back to Africa possible, leader of the returnees saw this as a remarkable event for those of them looking for their roots.
Chief Naja and I have been working together. She does the DNA, I do the travel. And so we've committed ourselves to making sure that those who want to know.
In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Studies and trainings to qualify for practice in the field. But despite this stringent procedure, research has shown that the field, like every other profession in Nigeria, is equally bedeviled by activities of quacks. In this report, Judah Bugu takes a look at quackery in the field of medicine.
Quackery is common in Nigeria, as many fields of work suffer the activities of quacks, not minding the level of expertise required to be in the field. In the highly revered medical profession, known for its specialties, technicalities, ethics, and lengthy years of learning and training, it has been observed that unqualified persons are infiltrating the field. For instance, about 4 months ago, 3 hospitals were said to have been shut down by the Enugu State Ministry of Health for being operated by quacks. Apart from the practice by individuals that are not trained as medical professionals, other forms of quackery identified by experts include a situation whereby a trained medical professional becomes a jack of all trades instead of sticking to his or her area of training.
There's another professional quackery where people practice beyond the scope of their profession. A medical doctor is not supposed to be a pharmacist. A pharmacist is not supposed to be a medical doctor. A physiotherapist is not supposed to be a life scientist.
Respondents attributed the ugly trend to ignorance on the part of the public, poverty, poor regulatory framework, and low level of enforcement. They called for the support of government and security agencies in fishing out and prosecuting quacks in the medical profession, noting that activities of quacks wreak serious havoc to the health sector and often leads to loss of human lives. In Enugu, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
And that's a bit from Enugu. It's back to you, Ifoma, for a continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Mina. And talking sports now, Sports Minister queries national football team's performance. Kene Imamodike has more on sports updates.
In a bid to forestall the sequential non-qualification of national football teams as well as their below-par performances in tournament, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare Monday, demanded explanation from the Nigeria Football Federation while also ordering the provision of NFF's nominal role for investigation and verification.
Whatever we do today won't change the fact that we're out of those tournaments. What will be important is what we do going forward, and that is what I am about.
In table tennis, Nigeria's Aruna Quadri will not participate in the end-of-the-year ITTF World Tour Grand Finals scheduled for December 12 to 15 in Zhengzhou, China, despite competing in several competitions this year. The 2019 Nigeria Open champion failed to make the cut after finishing 29th among the top 30 listed for qualification. According to the qualification criteria,